What makes a packaging design good and how can you create one yourself? It's holiday time and I have sourced 5 really cool trends in packaging where I'm going to show you some crazy examples, some beautiful examples, and we're going to look at how you can look at trends and what we're seeing coming up for 2023. I'm super excited, so let's dig in together. So I'm calling this first category Mind Shift. And here we have the Filipino branch of BBDO who have actually taken packaging to a new level. This is actually a product where lots of people are used to shampoo being liquid. This is how it's been for a lot of time, but that comes in a plastic bottle usually, which is not great for the environment. So lots of people are starting to use shampoo bars, but there's still a bit of an information gap between people who haven't really realized that you can use a solid or a bar for shampoo. So what they've done is they've completely removed the packaging and they've used this stamp technique to actually create this typography on the bar itself. I think this is really smart because you have a clear tie to sustainability of not having any packaging at all. And you also have all this different messaging, and I really love how they used the wavy typography to mimic the brand style, but also make it a lot more playful. I think the genius in this is the messaging combined with the color scheme where everyone can fit a design that works with their home design and home decor. I think what we can learn from this going into 2023 is how we can really think differently about packaging and how it doesn't really have to be something that is thought of in the same way that we've always done with a box or a very traditional style of packaging. Before we move on, I also want to bring up the product The Mug in this category. This is a packaging created by LYN G, and we're basically seeing how this really interesting looking product that is really colorful and really uniquely shaped, because their whole thing is about sustainability. The packaging itself is all about the materials. The design is super minimal, super functional, and we're just focused on creating as much sustainability as we can. Next up, I want to talk about making a big swing for the fences, or basically the anti-design trend. And so for this one, I want to bring up Burt Ward's Gentle Giants. This is food for pets. This packaging is basically the perfect dream example if you're thinking about no hierarchy, no brand guidelines, everything goes, put texture on everything. This is just everything at once. Apparently, this packaging design has increased their sales a lot. And so I think it's really interesting to dig into why that might be and what we can learn and take away from it. I think a huge part of the success of this is just the sheer shock factor and the fact that they really took it all the way to the extreme that they could. But there are a couple other things that are super interesting. So besides standing out from the shelf, they've also used a lot of cute pictures of animals that feel very relatable and almost like they could be your own pets dressed up in cute outfits. Next up is they've used the celebrity endorsement. So the founder actually is the actor Robin in Batman in one of the generations, and so they really used that in the packaging to tell that story. I wanted to include this one because I thought you guys would really enjoy it. Sometimes if you have a crazy idea, go for it. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun to design packaging, do graphic design, so go for it. Next up is a category I called Secret Genius. And this is for the type of packaging where you look at it and it looks like there aren't that many components, but somehow it all works so well together. For this, I want to show you Heyday's design for their beans. And this is a product where beans themselves tend to be seen as maybe not super appetizing when they're canned. Maybe they give you a tummy ache or something like that. And actually this brand, what they're trying to do is show all these unique flavors and showing that it can be healthy, that it can be tasty, and it's part of a great, especially vegan or vegetarian diet. This is a super stale industry where a lot of the canned beans, they just look the same on the shelf. So this is a real fresh breath in the aisle. And so I wanted to bring up a couple things I think they're doing well. The first one is how incredibly clear they've been with the messaging and how they've really put all of the important information first. I also think that the colors that they've used and the style of illustration work really well. My favorite part of this design is how they're combining use and legibility with fun and playfulness in their layout. and I really like how they illustrated the ingredients. The next packaging category is trendy, and I wanted to bring this up because I've seen so many really highly intricate typefaces and really intricately type-heavy designs in 2022. And so I thought it would be really interesting to look at some do's and don'ts for that type of packaging. So as an example, I want to bring up Broz burgers. We have lots of typefaces, we have layouts that create a lot of energy, but my question with this is, will people understand that this is linked to a specific brand? So once some of these things like these stars or these rings start becoming a bit less trendy, will this be a good move for a brand? Or is this something that we're more looking at for, temporary items that will be interesting and look popular now? I think the reason this actually works is because the Broz Burgers whole brand is about being bold, about being trendy, and about taking on these specifically digital styles and making it part of the print. Another reason I think this design works so well is because they really leaned into the minimal part of the maximalist experience. They've only used black and white, and they've almost only used typography. Now we have a category I'm gonna call breaking the minimalism. And this is for categories like natural juices and things where we've seen the same type of minimalist design over and over, at least for the last, I would say, 3 years probably. I want to show you 2 examples here. The first one is a natural juice called Lettuce. This is a conceptual brand, and here we're really seeing how they're not keeping it minimal to show minimal and healthy and natural ingredients, but they're really using this really interesting illustration style to bring lots of color and to bring lots of texture and energy to the design. The second example is Moody, and these are contact lenses. And this again is an industry where we're really having white, blue, we have the name, and there's a picture of a contact lens on it. I think we can all envision the design. And so here we're using these really kind of abstract versions of something like a jellyfish, and we're mixing it with these colors that feel really modern and interesting, and we're creating an interesting and new effect that feels a bit abstract. So why does this work, and what can we learn from it? I think these work really well because they've kept the typography really minimal. They really let the colors speak and picked really unique colors that feel really different from the very corporate designs or the very sort of health food design colors that we can see. I think this approach is perfect if you have a younger audience, people who are a little bit more open to new approaches and who are tired of seeing the same exact packaging for your industry. If you love packaging, I think you would really enjoy my video on how to use illustration for packaging, so I'll put that on the video here. If you made it this far, let me know down in the comments which trend you're going to be trying in 2023. Thank you so much for watching. Have a really nice time off if you're taking time off, and otherwise good luck with your projects, and see you next time.